Alongside me, a man who played 38 times for Scotland, Johnny Beattie. No crowd, but still a terrific occasion, something to really look forward to.
Absolute blockbuster, has to be said. Stardust all over the pitch. Wales searching this Grand Slam here in Paris for the first time in 50 years. Could be incredible if they achieve it. You wouldn't back against them, you wouldn't bet against them. They have some record, but Paris, France, they're going under a sort of mini renaissance under Fabien Galtier and Shaun Edwards. What a team they've turned out to be this year. Absolutely phenomenal, and it should be one heck of a game.
So there you got a glimpse of Luke Pearce, who's the referee today. Matthew Carley and Christoph Ridley run the lines. Wayne Barnes, the television match official, and no doubt we will hear from him as the game proceeds. We are just about set to go in what will be the 101st meeting of these sides, and we're hoping for a belter. In those 100 meetings previously, France won 46, Wales 51. There have been just 3 draws, the last one of those back in 1974.
Time you run, please, Wales. Okay, France.
So it's Dan Biggar who gets us underway at the Stade de France in the final game of this Super Saturday in the Guinness Six Nations. Not the final game of the tournament, remember, that will be next week when France take on Scotland back here at the Stade de France next Friday night. But for now, it's all about tonight and whether Wales can finish off this championship with a Grand Slam. And for France, well, get the job done tonight and worry about next week after 80 minutes here. But Wales will want to settle in and get the nerves out of the body and make France realise that they are here and that they mean business. And Gareth Davis and Dan Biggar get their hands on the ball, and he's wrapped up by Aldrit. Gareth Davis so can see the ball, and Justin Tipuric, what a player he's been for Wales. Leads the line-out stats, leads the tackle stats in the competition. He's been fantastic, as is this man, Talupe Faletau, back to something like his best after a couple of fallow seasons, and he had a lot of injury worries. Biggar hoists it into the sky. Bryce Dulin comes from way back and doesn't get there, knocks it forward in attempting to gather the ball, so it's advantage to Wales. It'll kick over the top, but it's covered off well by Jalabert, who did well to cover in there for Dulin. Finds great space back in the Welsh 22, and they're scampering back to deal with it. Here's Josh Adams using the left boot to clear the lines. That was off the knee, so not knocked forward. Dulin goes after it, and this time gets there and secures possession for France, who will get their first opportunity to get their hands on the ball. Great ball carriers all over this French side. That man, Mohamed Hawass, one of them. Dupont. Wales will be so keen to keep Dupont quiet in this game. If he's given as much as an inch, well, we know what he can do. Olivon, the latest to carry, both sides just going through the phases, getting their hands on the ball and getting comfortable in this atmosphere. Marchand, Dupont again. The Welsh defensive line is set. Of course, a Welsh defensive line that was so long run by Shaun Edwards, who's now the French defensive coach. You can be guaranteed that Shaun Edwards' impact is still felt very much by the way the Welsh defend. And they'll have to defend a little bit more as the ball goes wide. It's 8 phases. The ball has been in play for so long in this opening 2.5 minutes. Dupont, Gaël Ficou, and out to Damien Penaud. Penaud tries to come back inside. Tipuric is there, and so is Dupont. That one looked like it was high. Referee agrees, and Dupont continues on. Olivon, Aldrit, and then Willemse. And in to do the clear-out work is Marchand, and the French just up the gears a couple, and Dupont goes again and into the 22, and Wales chasing shadows for a moment. Still advantage being played. France with ball in hand, big tackle required, big tackle came, but no advantage in crewing. But what about that for an opening 3 minutes, Johnny?
Some of the collisions, oh my goodness. Willemse, Marchand stepping up, huge collisions, dominating physically and getting the French team on the front foot. But that man again, Antoine Dupont, from nothing, wriggling out of situations and creating absolute mayhem. He is so good. And there we go, France have the first shot at goal and potentially a step forward in this game.
Yeah, Luke Pearce just confirming what they want. Bryce Dulin is the man who's called forward. And this one's going down the line. No kick at goal. Left boot of Dulin to try and get every metre he can, and he's done really well. It's a super kick out of hand as you watch why that penalty accrued. Josh Adams high on Dupont, no question. The referee was right, but it's given France terrific field position. About 5.5, 6 metres short of the Welsh line. Julien Marchand will throw the ball, taken by Olivon. And on they go. Advantage being played once more. It's another cheap penalty from Wales. Jalibert, Penaud, not much room to manoeuvre, but he's continued to get forward momentum. France really threatening now. Teofifanoa almost there. Advantage continues. France continue, and they're over. And have they grounded it? Luke Pearce has a look. And he says held up, but ominous signs for Wales. France mean business.
My word, the power when it comes through. Taofifanoa is 130 in the programme, but we all know he's way more than 130 kgs and almost impossible to stop at that distance. But what a display of power. First up from France. Built that well off the back of Olivon, who takes around about 75% of the line-out balls. So normally he's a marked man, but what a platform and go forward they gave themselves there. Easily across the line, but did they get the grounding? We'll see in a second.
Well, the referee was pretty sure they were held up as Penaud took it in, and then it was Teofifanoa.
4 is on the floor.
And finally Cyril Bay.
Yeah, and you're on the floor as well. You can't make a tackle on the deck.
Well, that ain't going to clear it up for anybody.
The line out and then the ball.
In the old days, the law of probability would have given you 5 points, but that ain't any good anymore.
Yeah, no clear footage.
There's no hiding with the cameras now, unfortunately, no.
Keep your work rate up.
Too serious.
Just to make sure, mate, we've already boxed off the potential foul, head contact on the captain, the Welsh captain, is it?
Yeah, Wyn Jones upright tackle, and he catches a shoulder in the tackle, but it's nothing foul play, no foul play.
As long as we box it off, that's fine. So just wait for my whistle. Merci. Wales, happy to play? Okay.
Yeah, a couple of bumps and bruises on both sides. The referee just wanted them to be attended to before we get on with it. And to the corner we go again. And France, well, they're laying down the marker right here, right now. Penaud joins the line out. It's there, and around the corner they come once more. And are they going to get there this time? Just held up. Where's the ball? It's there once more for France. Taofifanoa, yes! He's got there. What a start for France. The big man from Toulon, all 6 foot 7 inches of him, stretched out and dotted down, and the referee in no doubt.
You can see really clever wraparound play. Hawass to Aldrich, he gets great go forward and sneaks straight up the tie line. And then really brains over Braun there, dots it down very smartly, the big fella. Great play by Romain Taofifanoa. And France have the advantage, don't they? 5 points ahead.
He did not wait to get the shove from behind, just reached out with those big long arms of his. And before the hit came, the ball was grounded. His second international try, and that is exactly what the French were looking for in this opening period. And now the opportunity for Jalibert to add the additional 2 and make it the perfect 7 and the perfect start. Should be and is. And as we approach 7 minutes, France have 7 points on the board. Opening try, and after Wales, well, they got their hands on the ball early, but after that it was all France, and they carried hard. A couple of penalties gave them the territory. What a start. And Wales immediately rocked back. Restart taken by Olivon. Captain will be absolutely delighted with the way his side have started. Remember, France have only won 2 of the last 9 games they played against Wales. And Wales won 3 of the last 4 in Paris. It's a remarkable record. Where's this one? Liam Williams, great take. Super, Gareth Davis. And now it's an opportunity for Wales to attack. Jonathan Davis in midfield, had a little look up, thought about the pass out wide. Vakatawa goes after the ball, but it's still there for Wales. Gareth Davis is looking for it. Referee says it's there, and eventually the scrum half finds it. Ken Owens, 2 tries against the Italians last week. This is a game of much more difficulty, no doubt about that. Great carry from George North in the midfield. Dan Bigger skips to Purik, and it goes to Rhys Zammit, and he can't hold on to the ball. It's knocked forward though from a French hand in the tackle, so it will be a scrum. And we will go back, and Wales will get the put in.
And the first real chance for Wales to get a strike from red zone. Decent field position after squashing France after that kick-off, and Jesus, this is their first strike. 7 minutes in, 8 minutes in, a bit of territory, hold a bit of field position and try and get a foothold back in this game, because 7 down early on to France is never a good sign. Once they get their tails up, they can be incredibly difficult to pin down, so big chance for Wales to stay down in this red zone and convert.
Great work by Teddy Thomas, trying to rip the ball, indeed ripping the ball, but it just flew forward on that occasion. First scrum of the evening as we head for 9 minutes. You know what's been really interesting has been Wales' discipline through this Six Nations, and indeed last year Six Nations. It's 15 Six Nations games since they've seen a yellow card. Rhys Zammit sees a big hole and goes through it, and Gareth Davis is on his shoulder, and Wales are in. Have they grounded it? Was it held up? Well.
Yeah, just hang on. I know. Just let me work with my team.
Let me look at my team, says the referee.
Because I see him held up. Do we need to check the initial action of grounding or not? Okay, so
Barnes, see first off, that was a system error, just a complete missed tackle. To go straight through as a wing from that position is almost impossible. So it must have been a system error of somebody coming out of the line from France.
Beforehand and see if the ball gets to
you see Antoine Dupont a little bit late, and Rhys Zammit is flying, gets that ball away, offloads really nicely. And a very simple way to get back in the game if that's given.
Olivant was there, and he has a big arm underneath it. I'm not sure that was grounded. Wayne Barnes
at the
will
moment
make the
we
decision.
haven't got a grounding, mate, so we're just trying to find some other angles for you.
Yeah, no rush.
Oh, we've seen some really
We're just going to come back to that
calls
other angle, mate, because that's the best angle we've got so far. We haven't got a clear grounding on it, but we just want to make sure.
No worries.
Over the line.
Ball is up, ball is up, ball is up.
Must be tight.
Leg comes in the way. There is no clear grounding of that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
Just waiting for one more angle, mate. Let's just get this right. There are no more angles, mate, on the video evidence we've seen so far. There's no clear grounding. Stick with your on-field decision, please.
Okay.
And the on-field decision is no try. And France breathe a mighty sigh of relief, because you're right, Johnny, that was a defensive malfunction, no question about it. Rhys Zammit should never have been able to make it through a gap like that from first phase ball.
No, and Sean Edwards will be absolutely livid. I mean, clear system failure, but then it might be smart attack from Pivac and Wales. Maybe they've identified there's a bit of space in between Dupont and Jalibert. They don't cover quite quick enough. But geez, what a line break. The speed by Rhys Zammit to sniff out that gap from first phase nearly caused absolute havoc.
Oh, he's been the find of the Guinness Six Nations, no doubt about that, winning just his 9th international cap. 20-year-old, he's 5 years younger than the next youngest player on the Welsh side. It'll tell you just how experienced they are. Big scrum, Gareth Davis will feed it.
Okay, Wales.
And the scrum half, with the attentions of Dupont, doesn't get the cleanest of passes away, but it's still there for Wales, and George North runs into an equally immovable object in Vakatawa. Gareth Davis decides to snipe himself. Faletau to Purik. Scrum half is going to leave it. Faletau is going to play scrum half, or will he carry? A little bit of a slow decision. Eventually the number 8 takes it. Ken Owens on his shoulder. Left this time, surely. No. It'll be Wyn Jones who picks and goes, and France being tested around the fringes of the breakdown. Tipperick will dig it out, wrestle it out, round the corner he goes, bounces off the first tackle, just doesn't have the ability to get there. Still there though for Wales. On they go, this time they're over. Have they grounded it? They have, the try is given. Wales are in, it's Biggar who crashes over. And they knocked on the door, and eventually the blue defence let them through. Biggar scores, and it is game on in the Stade de France.
Oh, what a game we have on our hands, eh? I mean, geez, Wales are just so difficult. Once they get into this area, they've got one of the highest conversion rates in the Six Nations. They just managed to get over the try line again and again. Biggar there coming from out to in, taking that French defensive line by surprise, through two men, perfectly timed and dots down. What a game we have. 7-all. Well, 7-5 for the minute, should be 7-all. And a fantastic start here in Paris.
7-all it is now. The conversion is good, just caught the end of it there. And what, 12 minutes into this game, you know it's got everything written down to be an absolute cracker. Seventh international try for Dan Biggar. And it's exactly what Wales needed after the start that France made. Entries into the 22 for both sides. Tries have come away as a result of it. Faletau receives the ball, and Wales go about their business once again. Gareth Davis has been instrumental in everything that Wales have done in the opening 12 minutes. Takes on the box kick. Not a particularly good one, and it's easy for Dulin, and then Jalabert. And Teddy Thomas gets his hands on the ball, and again, one of those, they're strike runners for both sides, that you know when they get their hands on the ball, if they get them in any sort of room. Here's another Dupont. Another big collision. Huge carries. Jalabert, little dink in behind. Liam Williams trots across nonchalantly and deals with it. Gets a face full of Vakatawa as he gathers the ball. Jonathan Davis was thinking about playing scrum half. Gareth Davis is there to do so. Pops it on, and it's a carry for Wyn Jones. Marchand meets him and tries to rip the ball, but it's still there for Wales. Cannot take your eyes off this one. Little swivel, and a kick from Gareth Davis. Gives possession back to France, and it's Aldrit, Gregory Aldrit, who takes it up there for Dupont. Another little chip and chase, this time from Dulin, and then Jalabert. And France are going to get in again. Oh, yes! What a score! It's end to end. Where were the defence? Well, France are in again. It's a second try. And what about that? Antoine Dupont is the man who dots it down, but wonderful cameos from Dulin and Jalabert as well.
But again, it's how it's come about. That one, they didn't have to work hard. It's come from a loose kick again into backfield, and you cannot kick loosely to these blokes. Brice Dulin with a bit of time in midfield after a hit up by Aldrit, sniffs out, there's nobody in the second of D-line. Jalabert fixes his man, and Dupont goes over. It's far too easy for Dupont. He loves those lines. But what a try for France. What a start to this game.
Oh yeah, it's blown the hinges off it. If there were any nerves, well, they're not there now. This is full-blooded stuff, and the carries, the hits, I mean, it's been exaggerated by empty stadiums. You can feel them, you can actually hear them, albeit from 40 and 50 meters away. But this is, well, full test match level, let's say that. Jalabert adds the extra 2, as you'd expect him to, and as we head towards the 15-minute mark, it's France that lead it by 14 points to 7.
Valid question.
Wonderful, wonderful try.
Well, Wales will be disappointed with the manner of that one. It's a soft one to concede, and Gareth Davis will definitely, his next exit, I'm sure Alun Jones will have had a word and said, look, sort this out, it needs to be better next time. We cannot give away easy field position like that.
Okay, France!
Olivon, again, the receiver of the restart, and Dupont will complete the job. Nice effort at blocking it down, and he got a hand there, did Alan Baird. And it's Liam Williams who'll carry into contact. Ken Owens wrapped up by Hawass, Gareth Davis, Dan Biggar. and Baird in midfield. Back come Wales. Big tackle. Olivant, one of two to make it. George North onto Alan Wynne-Jones. Damien Penaud is able to hold him up, but no more. George North back on the Welsh side again. Josh Navidi, man of the match last week against the Italians for Wales. Here's Dan Biggar. Jonathan Davis. Wales just, France I should say, just backed off defensively for a moment there. Liam Williams straightens the line. Teo Fifanawa made the tackle. Ken Owens picks up the loose ball, and Louis Rizamat makes a yard, and Talupe Falatau is the next to carry. It's breathless stuff. Alan Wynne-Jones. France desperate to get their hands on the ball, but Marchand can't do it. Navidi isolated for a moment. France trying to get numbers in, but Wales secure possession. Adams almost away. Jalabert held on. Gareth Davis. They go wide again, Wales. Louis Rizamat over on that far wing. Gareth Davis. Ken Owens. Here's Wynne-Jones. Try against Scotland, how he'd dearly love another against France tonight. Biggar, Jonathan Davis. Carry after carry. Biggar again. Liam Williams. Falatau, Teddy Thomas makes the tackle. Falatau back on his feet. 2 meters short. Wales, another red wave towards the French line. Oh, this is quality stuff from both sides. Gareth Davis, it'll pop off. Again, there's a wall of blue there led by Crétin to make the tackle. Falatau drives the legs. Talupe Falatau thought about reaching out, just couldn't get there. Navidi round the corner. France hanging on. Have they hung on? No, they haven't. It's another try. It's 20 minutes that have almost flown by in this game. It's a fourth try. It's Josh Navidi, and what a game.
Completely different in the manner to the last French try, but geez, you have to appreciate the build-up, the multi-phase, the work that goes in, the ability to hold on to ball. And then the last man, Josh Navidi, smashed over by his teammates, latching on, leg drive, get him over the line, the ball gets dotted down.
Just got to wait for Barnes.
But geez, absolutely wonderful build-up play by this Welsh side, patient in this red zone, and again, another converted chance. Wonderful play.
Well, I didn't think we'd be talking about the relevance or potential relevance, and there's bumps and bruises on both sides at the moment. The medical staff are out and checking everybody, and it's not a surprise because there's been a ferocity to the start of this that, well, it's always ferocious at test level, but this is another level up almost. But bonus points could come into play here, and Wales are halfway to a try bonus point. That may well be relevant as we head into the final quarter. Right now, it's a kick for Dan Biggar that will tie it up at 14 points apiece. Struck it well, up go the flags. It is 14 apiece. One of the real concerns there for the try score. Teo Fifanawa was he and Aldrich on
Tom,
Josh Navidi. That's where the injury came.
You can see he just got his leg trapped underneath this player, spun round to finish that movement. He maybe just niggled his, his medial ligament, but a bit of strap, and off he goes.
Yeah. You all right?
Well, he looks like he's going to continue for the moment at least. You can see there for a moment the significant figure of Swan Ribadj, but he's gone back to the substitutes bench for the moment at least. The ball has been in play for such long periods. Must be exhausting already, and we're just coming to the end of the first quarter. Gareth Davis with the kick. And it bounces back into play. Then Gaël Ficou gathers it up, and France will go again. Willemse. Dupont. The pace and the depth that the runners are coming from is bone-crunching in the effort that it takes to put them down. A rare mistake from either side, knocked forward from a French hand. Ball turned over. Bigger changes the point of attack from one side to the other, finds Ken Owens, who's got a second lease of life at 34 years of age and 82 international caps. He looks like a spring chicken out there. Alan Wynne-Jones goes to ground.
9, let's go.
Ball goes high from the boot of Gareth Davis. This will be a contest, and it's a contest that was almost won by Dan Biggar. Bryce Dulin, who is so assured under the high ball, but he is giving away a number of inches to Biggar and to Liam Williams, who tend to be the two that challenge him in the air. On that occasion, Biggar got there, but he knocked it forward.
You're absolutely right. Biggar and Williams both so good in the air. But you can see the difference in the quality of kick from Davies. That one's in the air, it's contestable, putting Dulin under pressure. The first two exits were too easy straight to hand and gave France easy go forward. So if Wales are continue to put France under pressure, they have to kick properly, they have to contest, and they have to put the opposition back to be under pressure.
Tao Fifanoa is not okay to continue, so it's Rebaj who comes in to replace him. The Toulon lock, 6'8".
Happy?
Just his second international cap.
He actually was man of the match last week in the Fallow week against Racing 92. He was outstanding, man of the match. Cleared up at line-out time, counter-rucking in the middle of the pitch, turning balls over. He was absolutely everywhere. So look, a different profile. Tao Fifanoa is a big man, 135 kgs. Rebaj more athletic, but had something completely different. A wonderful player, great talent, and definitely earned the step up to the French national team.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Dupont feeds and it pops out the back of the scrum a little quicker than he expected to.
Taken in, Matthew.
Clearing kick. And has that one found touch? No, it hasn't. It's bounced back in. Ball just doesn't want to go dead. There for France again. Another loose enough kick from Wales, just too deep, gives France the opportunity to get the ball in hand, spread it wide. Teddy Thomas, what are you thinking? That was a poor decision from the winger. Hands possession momentarily over to Wales and then back to France, but there's a knock forward in there, so it'll be a scrum to Wales, and that all coming from a looseness from Teddy Thomas that can happen sometimes.
Well, look, if you're going to level one criticism at Teddy Thomas, is that he's super relaxed when he plays. He's one of the best athletes in world rugby, going forward, absolutely frightening. But sometimes he just has little moments like these where he's not quite there, chucks the ball to deck, and that's all too easy for Wales. That's a simple turnover and allowing them back in the game. If France are to take this game by the scruff of the neck, they're going to have to be a bit more serious.
Well, we've gone about 2.5 minutes without anything happening.
Bind. Set.
Gareth Davis feeds. Falatau leaves it, goes to Biggar, and then Jonathan Davis, and they attack, and France back off. And Davis says, if you're going to give me ground, I'll take it. And Biggar once more, he called for it. France very slow to get back in a defensive line. Wynne-Jones probably should have straightened that rather than cut back in. France go after it, but it's still there for Gareth Davis. Narrower side, Jonathan Davis thought about the pass to George North, takes the tackle of Ficou instead. Adam Beard met by Willemse on the gain line. No change on that carry from Wales. Navidi. France a little bit lethargic in their defensive effort in terms of their line speed. It's been something that under Sean Edwards has improved so much, but they've backed off on a couple of occasions and allowed Wales to take that forward momentum and take the territory.
Back we come. Hands and slowing the
Penalty.
ball down.
We talk about the defensive effort. Again, we've just seen clearly how important it is, the first effort from set piece. Once you soak and you give away gain line like that, a 20-metre gain, it's really hard to get back behind the gain line and then generate line speed. So there, France are forced to soak again. Concede. And for Wales, it's too easy. You hold ball, they're comfortable with hands on ball, they're not forcing anything, and they can win themselves a penalty and get back in the game. Big play by Wales.
Did you see that, ref? So then, as we approach 25 minutes, Dan Biggar will go through his little Macarena shuffle and put boot to ball, and it should be a boot and a ball that puts Wales in front. And up go the flags to confirm it. And after 25 minutes, it's France 14, Wales 17.
Again, just shows when you have the ball, it's golden. You need to look after it. Teddy Thomas, he's not being retained by Racing 92 because of that. He's been told he's been let go. Still looking for a club, potentially Toulouse, but it's because of those brain fades. He's not a nailed-down starter for Racing, even though he's a wonderful athlete. There's just those questions over his mentality that keep coming back. And in that instance, giving away a penalty resulting from a scrum, 3 points for Wales.
Okay, not yet.
And Wales deserve huge credit for the way they've gone about this, because they were 7 points down before they knew what had happened to them. They regathered and regrouped and really gone about their task. Bryce Dulin saw some green grass over there, but Gareth Davis covered it really well and calls the mark. The kicking from Wales, am I right in believing it's very deep and giving that French back three the opportunity to come back and see if there are any gaps in the defensive line?
But then it's a ploy that Wales have used for a long time. Underwall and Gatland even, they were the first ones to keep the ball in play, try and tire out our opposition. And look, if you have one stigma that's attached to French players, it's that they're unfit, they're lazy, but look, they have changed so much over the past 12 months. It's no longer the case. So the game may open up as it goes along, but yes, certainly now it looks like it's a ploy by Wales to keep the ball on the field, kick long, and almost encourage the French to run back.
Well, that was a poor kick out of hand from France, and the ball goes dead, so we'll go all the way back to where the kick was taken. And Jalabert gets a don't worry about it pat on the back from Bryce Dulin, but it's given Wales great field position, middle of the park, 10-metre line, options both ways. There's the possession statistics from the opening 25 minutes.
I think that if Wales can force this game to turn into an arm wrestle, they've done it a million times before, they can absolutely dominate. So they need to keep the ball away from their third of the field, starve this French backline of any decent field position, and then just get hold of the ball, strangle this game. And if they do that, they've got a serious platform, they know how to hold ball, and they can be dangerous.
Faletau has two bites at it, but eventually picks it up. George North hits the fourth gear and explodes into an offensive effort of France. Tipperick, Louis Rizamat, little chip and chase. Teddy Thomas goes back and just provides the cover for Bryce Dulin to come across and walk it into touch. But again, it's Wales deep inside French territory. Just a burst here from George North. Sucked in a couple of defenders.
Yeah, and you can see even they're man-on-man in D, but they're still soaking. It's passive D, which is unlike Sean Edwards and Fabien Galtier in their approach to defence. And ultimately, this pragmatic approach after go for it from Wales ends up in another strike and a decent platform in the French 22.
Well, it's a proactive defence of the maul by France. On that occasion, they shove Wales back. And where's the ball? This one might be turned over. You know, Wales feel like they still have control of it. Haven't quite hit the panic button yet. And it's there for Jonathan Davis. Jalabert makes the tackle. He's slow to get back on his feet. He's taken a knock. Dan Biggar, up quickly come France on this occasion. Vakatawa absolutely flattens Rizamat. Oh, well, we saw a tackle earlier in the Scotland-Italy game where Monty Ioane had a right old go with Darcy Graham, and that one from Vakatawa is equal to it.
But you see the difference in the effect that it has. Pressure on the opposition, knock on or forward pass, an unforced error because you've aggressed with your defence. And Vakatawa, a man in the 7th Circuit who was phenomenal, both in attack and defence.
Actually, yeah.
You can see Jalabert taking one. He looks a little bit groggy trying to recover. John Fox-Davies going through him, attacking that channel once again. But look, the defence from France, I think if they're going to change this game, and go at this Welsh attack, they're going to have to increase their line speeds, be more aggressive and generate something, otherwise they'll just be soaking up and conceding field position for the rest of this game. So it's been a wonderful start, tremendous start and energy from this Welsh team.
There are the handling errors, and as that happens, you can see that there is a change into the game. Comes Roman Ntamak for Jalabert. Jalabert gone for a HIA. Roman Ntamak, his 19th appearance, just 21 years of age. Son, of course, of the great Emile Ntamak, who played 46 times for France. Finished, actually, in the first season of the Six Nations back in 2000. And here we are in 2021, and his son is playing an outside half.
And look, he only came back 2 weeks ago. He played, I think it was 60, 70 minutes against Brive. He looked kind of sluggish, to be honest. That's why he didn't get the green light last week. He was an unused substitute replacement last week, so it's a big task for him. He's got 70 minutes rugby under his belt after being out for 2 months. A huge challenge for him to come back into this game for this French team.
Aldrit to Dupont, little gap, that's all he needs. Advantage being played to the French, none accruing.
Collapse going backwards. Number 1, elbow to ground, going backwards.
Well, he started out this campaign, Ntamak, the campaign of Galtier, it has to be said, as the first choice, and he's had his injury problems. But here he is with the opportunity to steer his team home.
And look, he is so dangerous, both for club and country, that the partnership that he's formed with Antoine Dupont is certainly one of the best in the world. Really unfortunate to be out and miss the start of the tournament, but absolutely two of the faces of this French revolution that we've all enjoyed watching over the past 12 months. Two incredible rugby players.
Down from the new man, Ribaj. Ntamak, and then Dula. Lovely feet from Bryce Dula. Gets him an extra yard. Put down eventually by George North. Hawass carries. Wrestled to the ground eventually. Ntamak. Ribaj once again. Ntamak, that one didn't quite come off. Vakatawa, and we're going to come back.
Advantage. First knock on by Wales, 9. Second by France.
Great play again by that man, Brice Dula. You cannot give him a sniff of space. He's worked his way back into this team after a year and a half out with an ACL injury. Wasn't signed again by Racing 92. They let him go. He has been insane for La Rochelle this year. And again, one of the faces of this French team, under Fabien Galtier, under Sean Edwards, that's completely changed. Perennial underachieving team, pretty much for, you'd say, 10 years, since 2010, last time they won anything. And again, the French public behind their team, confidence found, playing fantastic rugby. Great to see, and Brice Dula has absolutely been one of the blokes at the forefront of this effort.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Another strong French scrum. Dupont has the platform. Ficou thought about the pass to Vakatawa. Bigger made the tackle. They go to ground, and is it turned over? No. High tackle, says the referee.
The turnover's fine, but he caught him on the neck on the tackle. High tackle on number 12.
Gail Ficou caught high. You can hear the scream up here.
Yeah, he just caught him on the neck on the way down, that's all.
Oh. It's turning into football.
Fellas, it's not death by video review, okay? If I make a mistake, so be it, but we carry on playing.
You can hear Alan Wynne-Jones in the background after seeing that on the big screen as well, saying, come on, ref.
Post, please.
Gain line success and meters made all point towards Wales, but they only have a 3-point lead.
Yeah, the problem was my side on that last one, mate.
So then, first opportunity of the evening, or of the night as it is now. 20 minutes to 10 almost, local time. Roman Ntamak in for Mathieu Jalabert, who, if you're joining us late, went off with a HIA. This to level it up again, and up go the flags. And after 33.5 minutes, we're all square at the Stade de France. France 17, Wales 17. It doesn't look like Jalabert is coming back. Bigger. Olivon has been the target the whole way through the restarts of this game so far, and he is again.
Okay,
It's a real shame for Mathieu Jalabert. He's been an absolute star since coming in for Romain Ntamak. And France are absolutely blessed in that department. You've got Louis Carbonel as well down at Toulon, who's not even attached to the squad, the extended squad.
Hold the 10, Wales.
But desperately sad for Mathieu Jalabert not to be able to continue.
15.
Good line-out ball for Wales, and again, Louis Rizamet makes miles rather than inches. Jonathan Davis holds on when it looked like might get away from him. Falatau, Crétin makes the tackle, along with Ntamak. Adams is the latest red shirt to come crashing forward. Wales need a scrum half. Falatau will oblige. Francis with Owens on his shoulder. But again, every carry, it feels like Wales are getting across that gain line. They're not being knocked back, that's for sure. Really good work at the breakdown from France. Super work. May have been Hawass, will confirm it on the replay, and it doesn't find touch. Liam Williams. Good chase from Damien Beno to get there and make the tackle, but possession once more for Wales, and they're attacking that narrow side once more. We've seen it all the way through this first half. Gareth Davis, Justin Tipperick, big hit again. Bigger, Wyn Jones, Olivon puts him down. Bigger back inside. Josh Adams trying to weave and bob his way through the French defenders. Bigger slings out the pass to Owens, and Teddy Thomas tries to drag the Welsh hooker to the touchline, and he did a good job there.
Okay, touche. Yeah, just lost control at the back of the players there. Let's go.
That was the break from Louis Rizamet. That's the second, if not third time we've seen him come streaming through that first line of French defenders.
So it must be between the first and second. There must be detachment between the first and second defender and the French defensive line, because that's twice. Once from scrum and the second from a line-out set piece. They've been absolutely shredded. Very uncharacteristic, not like a Sean Edwards side.
Teddy Thomas, that one is, well, it's advantage being played, so it's a penalty to France. Dupont trying to get on with it quickly, but back will come.
Number 9, the line-out was not over, and 9 was offside.
Yeah, a penny for Sean Edwards' thoughts right now. He cannot be happy because he's spent an inordinate amount of time changing the mindset of the French players around the defensive system, and his impact has been significant. But today,
but I would argue that the difference has been in the work off the ball. So when the ball goes in the air, typically French players start to walk, whereas now French ball goes in there, find a line, defensive line, rush, hustle. They do that. What's different about the two mistakes that we've seen is there's system errors. So it's been not too tight. There's been an area where there's a disconnect between the two, and Wales have identified that. So you have to say chapeau, well done Wales. But in terms of their defensive organisation and overall structure, they are night and day from what they used to be.
Lovely from the French, and Aldrit had Viku on his shoulder, and they just couldn't get the pass away, and Falatau picks it up, and Wales have the advantage of the knock forward, and the referee is going to call it back.
1 by France, 1 by Wales.
But there was a big gaping hole in the French defence. The speed of pass created it.
I think you can see Dan Bigger rushing up on Lemsey. He absolutely went man and ball for Lemsey and just completely lost his line of sight. That man, Greg Aldrit, who broke the line. just unfortunately couldn't get that ball away to Fiku. The quality of pass with one hand, the offload just behind Fiku on his back hip. Doesn't quite manage to gather it, but another line break we've seen. I don't know how it's really uncharacteristic at this level to see this many defensive errors and system errors, especially off first phase. It's almost unseen, unheard of.
Bind. Set.
Both sides on their own ball have been rock solid in the scrum. Bigger. That one is watched and dealt with by Dulin. Calls the mark.
Yes. Wait till he moves. Wait till he moves. Okay, allez, s'il vous plaît.
But it is noticeable, Johnny, and I've seen France play a couple of times this Six Nations. You look, even at the length of time it's taking them to get back in dead ball situations, they don't seem to have that same attitude that we've seen from them throughout this championship. There's just a little bit of, dare I say, laziness in the way that they're going about it. It's still 17 points apiece, and they're sending Rhys Zammit down the main channel again. Ntamak is the one to make the tackle. Dan Bigger gets the ball over the onrushing WtchMNw, which creates a hole behind, but Wales can't exploit it, and Teddy Thomas picks and goes, and away Teddy goes. Dulin says that's enough for a first half that has simply flown by. 2 tries, 2 conversions, and a penalty apiece. Toefifanawa and Dupont for France, Bigger and Navidi, the try scorers for Wales. It is finely balanced, and it's terrific at the Stade de France with a half-time score of France 17, Wales 17. The Gladiators re-enter the stage at the Stade de France. It's 17 points apiece. It is so finely balanced. And you feel on the first half performance, it's Wales who are going to be the happier, Johnny Beattie.
And I think their experience shows, you know, 14 of that starting 15 have won a Grand Slam, and they enjoy the arm wrestle, and they've been fantastic. So if you're Wayne Pivac, you're asking for more of the same. If you're Fabien Galtier, you're asking for more, a lot more. You need to find another gear, both defensively and in attack, and pressurise this Welsh side. But absolutely, right now, Wales seem to be in the driving seat.
They do. Remember, France need to win this one, and if there are no try bonus points, they need to make sure they beat Wales by 7. Otherwise, the Welsh will win the championship, even if they lose on the night.
Time you run, France, en jeu.
Luke Pearce is ready. We're all ready, and we're off and running again at the Stade de France in the final half of the final game on Super Saturday. Johnny Beattie, the former Scottish international, 38 times capped alongside me. It's been a roller coaster of a game so far, and we're hoping for more of the same in the second half. Wales tantalizingly close to a Grand Slam that nobody saw coming, except maybe him, Alan Wynne-Jones. Well, there was a thought that Alan Wynne-Jones might be coming down the other side of a very high mountain in terms of performance, and with the Lions Tour on the horizon now, we hope, COVID permitting, he's right back in that conversation, Johnny, isn't he?
Absolutely. Potentially to lead the tour. Look, his performances over the past decade have been second to none. The man is a phenomenon. And there were questions asked, but look, he has been superior and the best second row in the tournament across the piece so far. So look, he will absolutely be in Warren Gatlin's thoughts. A man that he knows extremely well, and he knows he can do a job against South Africa.
That line out had 1975 written all over it, or 76. It was absolute mess. No one got off the ground, and France smuggled it back on their side. Ntamak So much expected of him with so little football under his belt in this second half. Liam Williams gathers the ball for Wales, and the Welsh backline provide the cover for Gareth Davis, who knocks it backwards, says the referee, but then runs into Gael Fickou.
Okay, Wales, use it.
Adam Beard, who's had a really good championship for Wales, carries it into contact.
Let's go, 9. Thank you.
Davis, into the sky it goes, the dark Paris sky, and there's a lot of bodies around that. And it's Gareth Davis who's on the ground, retrieving his own ball to Purik. And then cross field from Bigger. Ntamak is underneath this one, so is Josh Adams. And it's back on the French side. Penaud comes away with it, offloads it to Cretin, but there's a knock forward in there, called by the assistant on this side. And the ball is handed over. It's a scrum to Wales. Let's see if we can see it.
Oof. Again, not easy, not an easy take for Ntamak, but just in all of these aerial collisions, all of these 50-50s, Wales seem to be coming out on top. Huge performance in the air from them so far.
Yeah, Bigger, Williams, Adams, Reece Zammit, whoever the chaser is, whoever's going into that competition, they've come out the better against the back three of France, no doubt about that.
Stay 5.
First try of this second half, first score of this second half is so important in terms of psychology, in terms of momentum. And Wales are the ones who have the opportunity of the platform of a scrum inside French territory to go after that first score. Faletau peels away into open country and gets maybe 10 yards when he should have got 2. Bigger, Liam Williams, Reece Zammit crawls for 3 or 4 meters, not allowed to do it. Dan Bigger carries the ball. Alan Wynne-Jones does the clear out. Wales have got a spring in their step again. George North, it's through a little gap. Wynne-Jones, he's been terrific for Wales throughout this championship. Jonathan Davis, Faletau seemed to open a hole for Davis to go through, but the officiating party say, on we go. Adam Beard goes to ground. Ntamak is the one who makes the tackle. All this coming from the momentum created by Faletau off a scrum. George North dances back inside. Davis building, advantage there now. A free play for Wales. This is a moment, it's a big moment, and Wales will know it. Josh Adams, one-handed, bursts towards the line, but he's put to ground about 4 meters short. Gareth Davis. George North tries to offload around the back of a French defender, can't do it, gets knocked back a meter. Still advantage being played to Wales. Wynne-Jones again, 3rd time he's carried in this set. Alan Wynne-Jones. Wales continue to knock at the door. Bigger. North. Vakatawa gets across to help make the tackle. Bigger again. Wynne-Jones again. Gareth Davis. Alan Wynne-Jones. 3 in blue put him to ground. And eventually, they run out of gas.
Back over here. No, Faucheux.
It was a big defensive set from France. It had to be, but Faletau made huge ground off that scrum.
But again, it's too easy from a set play, a 40-metre scrum. You're 40 metres out from the post, and look where France end up. No line speed, nothing coming off the back to put Faletau under any pressure whatsoever. He gets round his flanker. Ntamak is 5 metres back, hasn't come up to meet him at all. And look where you end up. Once you give away that first 5 metres and you give away momentum at this level of rugby, it is impossible to get the ball back. France again soaking from that tackle from Ntamak, where he's given away 5, 6, 7 metres. You're on the back foot, and then footwork from Zammit, from North. Massive guys in your face. It is impossible to get the ball back. A carbon copy of the first half, and France haven't managed to react and change anything first up in the second half.
So after all of that, we get the penalty, and the penalty is slotted. And it means after 6 minutes of the second half, Wales have put their noses in front. They lead it by 20 points to 17. Some concern down there for Jonathan Davis, who's getting some strapping. He'll be given Every opportunity to run off whatever is there, if it's at all possible to do so. Such a promising start to this championship for France. Beat Italy as we expected they would, then Ireland away. France, opportunity with Dulin, ball in hand, continues Bryce Dulin. WtchMNw eventually puts him to ground. Dupont, Vakatawa, he's had precious little opportunity with ball in hand to attack, to terrorize that Welsh defense. Haas, Wyn Jones makes the tackle, but there's crossing.
Number 3 ran behind number 8.
And there is the contrast between the tightness and the level of comfort that the two teams have in this red zone. Wales repeating the effort once they get down that red zone. Simple pods of 3 hitting the middle runner, tight latches, gain line, and squeezing the French D. And held back by the ref. Conversely, France first bite the cherry the second half. They're done for crossing. They run in front of each other. They're giving the ball away. Really poor and a cheap way to give the ball back by France.
Nothing clear for us on the immediate review, so we play. Here we are then.
Dan Biggar dispatched to touch, and Wales will have the throw to the line out.
France, Laline, Messi.
There was an opportunity here, wasn't there, with Bryce Dulin?
Come on, Wales.
Wales were scrambling back to get to him, but nothing came thereafter. Wyn Jones to Ken Owens. The call is there. And Wales, no doubt, growing in confidence with every passing moment. They weathered the early storm. They went behind by 7, but they knuckled down as they have the whole way through this championship, and now they lead. Teddy Thomas came for it and didn't get there. And every little moment at the moment feels like it going the Welsh way.
And building pressure on this French team again. Another contest in there, another decent chase. A 50-50, one in there by Wales, and the regained possession after a knock-on by Teddy Thomas. And everything right now is knocking on and it's falling in favour of this Welsh side.
Gareth Davis has played his part, and Thomas Williams will come in to replace him. Williams to win cap number 22 for the Cardiff scrum half. Clean ball from Falatau, and Williams gets his hands on the ball early, and George North carries forward. Williams, Navidi, Falatau, Cretin makes the tackle. Wyn Jones again. Lovely pass back inside to Liam Williams as France committed in defence. Wales found a way to get around them. Beard is isolated for a moment. Tipperick with a little dink in behind. Terrific from the open side, and Josh Adams is playing on, and we're playing a little bit of football here, but Wales have it, and Adams has it, and they have the try. They have the try.
Oui, je sais.
Wow.
I know, mate, hang on. Barnesy, I'm going to come to you. We just let everyone calm down here a sec. Okay, everybody release now. Messi.
Calm down, he says.
Christoph, you're miles away. Matt, so I've got on-field try for the grounding, but we need to check for the potential knock-on, don't we? Okay, so first and foremost, Barnesy, let's roll it back. On-field is try, but we need to make sure if there's obstruction by... Okay, from the kick, is it? Fine, so Barnesy, let's roll it back to the start of the fly hack through, please. Look at the actions of the two wingers. If that's okay, we then look at the potential knock-on by the replacement scrum half. If that's okay, we're on-field try.
Basically, okay. Let's have a look at everything, Barnesy. Let's have a look at everything.
And see if there's any issues with onside, offside. Then we're seeing if there's any issue with a winger, and then we're seeing knock-on, then seeing grounding.
Apart from that, mate, yeah. Thank you.
Apart from that, everything's fine. Right. We may laugh, but this is an enormous moment in this match.
So off his legs there, mate.
Sorry, mate, we're trying to get the first angle, obviously, of number 7. It doesn't look like there's a knock on there, but we're going to look, first of all, from 7. You've asked me from the kick ahead, haven't you?
Correct, and the actions of the two wingers, Matt, isn't it?
Ooh, Cretin does extremely well. There has to be said, looks like he's got one hand firmly under that ball. What about the footballing skills by Justin Tipper? That is exceptional from
and
the
then to watch
7.
his actions we track through. That kick through is fine. 9 or 21 is onside. He goes to kick the ball, but I'm not seeing a clear knock-on so far. Yeah, hang on, mate. Let's just chalk things off.
So we're looking at this. First of all, we've got no clear knock-on there. It's off the leg.
Yeah.
He picks that up and passes it off. Now we're going to look at grounding.
Now we're looking at grounding. Up to here, we seem to be fine.
It's fine.
Cretin gets across. And... ooh.
He's done very well.
Fair enough. Let's just wait.
So your on-field decision is try, isn't it, Luke? Okay,
Correct.
So we've got to look for clear and conclusive evidence that ball's held up throughout.
Yes, correct. Boys, just to explain as we go in, it's a bit of a long one. There's no knock-on. We're now just double-checking the grounding, but we're on-field try, OK? So the evidence must show us that it's clearly held up, otherwise it's a try. But we're doing our work. Well,
people give out that these things take time. In this instance, with a championship arguably on the line, they need to.
Grounding yet. Now we're just going to see if there is clearly held up throughout.
OK.
Ball is up at the moment.
Yeah.
OK, Luke, it is not clearly held up throughout, so I cannot overrule your on-field decision. So please stay with your on-field decision of a try, please.
That's fine. So chalk things off, no obstruction, no knock-on, on-field was try, and no definitive evidence to show it was held up, so we can award the try.
That is clear.
Yeah, so we've all been through the process. There's no clear evidence of the hand. We had a look for you, but it was on-field try, so the try's still.
Charles Ollivon says, but did you see the hand? And he has a question that's worth asking. But the truth is, the referee awarded the try, and the question that he gave to the TMO, Wayne Barnes, was, is there any reason I can't, or that the on-field decision was a try? And that therefore, Wayne Barnes had to overrule it. And he couldn't on the evidence that he saw. So the try stands.
Okay.
Wales have their third try. Dan Biggar has a conversion attempt to come. And if there were 80,000 people here, there would be a lot of booing.
Oof.
He's been inch perfect all evening, and he continues to be. Wales are 10 in front after 50 minutes. It's France 17, Wales 27. And there's another change for France as into the game comes Gelon. Just trying to see who goes. Is it Cretin?
Okay.
It is Cretin who makes way. And he was the one who had a hand under that ball, but not enough of a hand under that ball for Wayne Barnes to change the on-field decision. What was your view of it, Johnny?
Oh, I think that's contentious. Look, I think that could have gone either way, quite clearly. There's been a lot of discussion over refereeing decisions in this tournament, and that one, I'm sure, will spark debate overnight on Twitter, will be on fire.
Taken in, Matthew.
But look, Wales 10 points ahead now in Paris and in the driving seat.
Absolutely. I think if the question had been the other way around, if the referee had said no try is the on-field decision, then it would have stayed that. There just wasn't enough evidence either way for Wayne Barnes to feel that he could definitively say whether Cretin had kept the ball up the whole way. Who'd be a TMO? Intimac, little show. They've got to pull something really special out of the fire now, France. Because Wales, well, they threatened the Grand Slam, they threatened the championship. Everything on the line now. Willem carries up to the 22. Where's the spark going to come from for France? Vakatawa surely has to get into this game. They need to release their big centre.
Check for arm comes from 7, please.
There's going to be a TMO check on the last clear out. We'll come back for that when this passage of play is over. Willemse tackled by Alan Wynne-Jones and by Tipperick. We forgot about his brilliance in that try. A little chip in behind by the open side, but we're going to go back here. Here's another big moment.
Job one, is it? Yes, you were. We'll just let Barnsley just double check that it wasn't a no-arms tackle by you up here. Yeah, we got players down anyway. We just want to just make sure.
Vakatawa trying to release Peno.
I mean, it's something we see him do week in, week out in the top 14. He is so good at sucking in 2 men and managing to offload out the back of his hand and set his wingers down the line, just not managing to capture that one, Peno. But absolutely, danger man Vakatawa. If they're going to get back in this game, they have to fire more shots. We're looking at Fiku, Vakatawa, Peno. We haven't seen too much of them on the ball.
Boys, time's off, so relax.
Those meters
no one's gonna go quick.
For Wales.
It's on the 22, mate, in front of the right-hand post as you look at it.
Thank you. On the right-hand post, on the 22.
So there is a penalty for France.
Number 7, no arms tackle, hands on the floor. Hello. No. Le marque est ici, France. Pointon. Post call. Apart from that.
So the decision is to go for the post.
Ballon, s'il vous plaît. Ballon.
Still a long way to go in this game, but you would have thought they might have thought about the corner with 10 points to make up.
Well, they've got 10 points to make up and they have to finish at least 7 ahead, don't they? So you would think...
Well, if they don't get a bonus point themselves, yeah.
Exactly, quest for points.
Restez positif. Oui, oui, merci. Oh,
just to explain, Wales on 19 points, France on 10 points in the table. If France win this without a bonus point, that would get them to 14. If Wales were within 7, that would get them, that would get Wales to 14, and that would get, oh, I'll start again in a minute. Forget about that for a moment. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Let's concentrate on the penalty. Over it goes, and the deficit is reduced. It is now France 20, Wales 27. France cannot allow Wales a bonus point if France win this game and don't get one themselves. That's what I was struggling to say.
Wales, time your run.
On its way from Bigger. Olivon wrapped up by Falatin.
Use it! Outside, taken in.
Another contestable. And Liam Williams. That was magnificent. And then in the tackle, he knocks it forward. When it looked like Wales were on the front foot once more. Now, chance for the little bit of room for Vakatawa to attack the defensive line, albeit on his own 22.
Okay, France,
Dupont. Aldrit. Francis makes the tackle. Back for Ntamak. Dan Bigger and Josh Adams, scorer of the 3rd try for Wales.
9.
Bigger and Navidi before him in the first half. Here's Jonathan Davis. Did he spill that forward?
9.
No, held on. Justin Tipperick. Falatau was running the line, but the flanker held on. And France screaming for a penalty, but they don't get it. Bigger. Williams, quite happy to ping it in behind and ask France to deal with it all the way back there. Bryce Dulin will run it out from behind his own goal line. 1, 2, 3 attempt to tackle him. Eventually he's put to ground. George North trying to strip the ball, but it's there for Dupont by Ntamak and Damien Penaud, and Penaud is away and into open country. Damien Penaud with the pass to Teddy Thomas, and there's a footed touch over on the far side, and France for a second threatened to break free.
Champagne stuff, it has to be said. But crucially, where are they playing their rugby? Look, Rhys Doolan gets out of jail, skips out of 4 tackles, absolutely magnificent, but in front of his own goalpost. Superb play, dodges 1, 2, 3. Wonderful setup play to get out the back. You have to admire the creativity and the desire to play, even from that deep. But ultimately, wonderful break by Penno, down the touchline, but they get out, they put out of touch on the halfway line. They concede possession once again.
Couple of changes. There's France's change. Into the game comes Arthur Vincent, and Teddy Thomas makes way. And in the second row for Wales, out of the game comes Adam Beard, and in his place comes a try scorer from last week, Corey Hill.
France, je pense 5, mais je pense 5 personnes dans la ligne, oui. Je pense, of course. Wales, the only time I will ask, is it 5 man? Okay, time. Half 10.
Wales shortening their line out. Ken Owens to the new man, Corey Hill.
Line over through the mark.
And to the maul, Wales go. An advantage to Wales as well. And Williams and Bigger.
Keep the mark, mate.
And that one isn't dealt with by France,
Back we come.
but
no,
not enough of an advantage, says the referee. So back we will go for the maul infringement over on the far side, and the penalty beat to Wales.
And it's interesting to see how it's come about. Wales operate their defensive line out with a mirror defence, which means they try to mirror every movement and then try and get in there and contest. But that means if you're not there and you've contested, you're not there on the floor to defend. And look, that's 2 or 3 or 4 times now. Wales have got a really good roll on at drive time. They're all set up because France are always 1 second late, can't compete on the floor, and easy go forward. And look, the net result again, penalty for Wales, and a gain of 40 metres, kick to touch, and another strike play in the French 22.
Wales, hold the 10. 9, are you in or out? Okay, stay 10.
Owens, Tipperick.
In 15.
Maul.
Same maul.
And a maul that marauds forward. And on and on and on it goes. Advantage being played.
He's going, lads.
Alan Wynne-Jones. Out it goes. Rhys Sammet. He thinks he's in.
Time off.
And Wales think they're another step closer to a remarkable Grand Slam.
I'll control him. Alan.
What a maul.
Favor.
And potentially, what a finish.
Anyway, we don't... Thank you very much.
Oh.
So, Christoph, on field is try. Barnesy.
We're going to check where his foot...
I've got it. I've got it. On field decision is try. If it's no try, then we are going back for a penalty against number 3.
Okay, mate, so we're going to look at it. His foot's fine. We're just going to look whether he's grounded against the base of the flag, because if he's grounded against the base of the flag, it is no try. So we need to slow this down.
Yeah, mate, it's all yours on this one. Shot. If it's grounded on the base of the post, it is in touch, it's no try. But that's why we have Wayne in the van looking at it.
Yeah, so we're just going to come up now, mate. His feet, we've cleared his feet. His feet are off the ground, but we are now looking where he grounds the ball.
Okay.
Please, we're just looking at the best angles. At the moment, it's looking like it's grounded against the base of the flag, which means it is no try, but we're trying to find the best angle.
Okay, mate.
Okay, mate, it is grounded against the base of the flag. That means it is touching goal.
Correct.
That means no try.
So it's no try. However, we're under advantage. The maul travelled at distance and speed, so number 3 is a yellow card. Alan Wynne?
No try.
I'm not convinced a try would have been scored, but hang on. It's a yellow card anyway for number 3, okay? Exactly, yeah. So, no try. Number 3.
whatever you will say about the decisions, you have to say that both Luke Pearce and Wayne Barnes are very clear in what they're deciding and why they're deciding it. So you can't argue. You mightn't agree. You might feel, oh, that didn't hit the base of that flag. But Wayne Barnes is convinced he's seen it, so that's the reason that he hasn't awarded the try.
Number 3 entry to the more.
Absolutely, and the conversation between the two, the content of that conversation is crystal clear. Their communication is perfect. And look, I agree with that decision. The one that I think, again, might be contentious for me was that Moll's on roller skates. I thought that was going to finish way behind the post. So, look, a yellow card for France, another man down.
I've answered, Alan.
A serious mountain to climb now. But, geez, France, when you look at their strategy, how they're playing, how they're forcing France to play out of their 22 and squeezing them at maul time. I mean, tremendous display from this Welsh setup.
You don't have to apologise.
Dan Biggar adds another 3, and Wales sail out to another 10-point lead. It's France 20, Wales 30.
Just wait for him to go off.
This is Jean-Baptiste Gros.
Okay, here we go then. Let's go.
Who's into the game? Cyril Bay makes way. It's been a terrific game. It's had everything you want.
Advantage.
If you're not enjoying this, as I
Clearly
saw in a tweet at halftime, then maybe rugby isn't the game for you.
Look, it's been a cracker. It's been an absolute cracker, but two, you have to say, both sides packed with talent.
Oh yeah, of course.
Allowing the game to flow. It's been superb watching so far.
Okay, 8 replacements, s'il vous plaît, pour la nouvelle prop.
So another change in the front row from France, but this one is because of the yellow card. Antonio has to come in.
Let's go, Wales.
To facilitate the scrum, and they have to sacrifice a player, and the player they're sacrificing is Gregory Aldrit, the number 8.
And you can see the body language now of the French players really changing. Aldrit coming off, head down, eyes down, almost sulking. And it looks like the French backline as well has followed suit. Frustrated, things aren't going their way. It's been a difficult evening for them.
Thomas Williams with the feed to a rock-solid scrum again for Wales. Dan Biggar.
Hold!
Bryce Dulin and France are going to have to do it from deep inside their own half into the final quarter of the game. 10 points the difference. Vakatawa, Dupont.
Okay, so we'll just go. So knock on by red. Wait, everyone okay? Okay, so no advantage. Thank you. Deliberate knock on.
Deliberate knock on from Wales gives France the penalty in a cheap territory intrudes from this kick, presuming it makes touch from Emilian Tamak.
13.
Johnny, where has this Wales performance in this Guinness Six Nations come from? Because the Wales that we saw in the Autumn Nations Cup, the Wales that we saw last season, it's a complete transformation.
Wales, look at the mark.
And yes, they've had a little bit of luck along the way. They 14 against Ireland, 14 against Scotland, a couple of decisions against England, but you don't get to this point in a championship. And it's all luck.
Well, look, they had 3 wins from 10 games in 2020. They really did not perform under Wayne Pivac, and he was under a lot of pressure. And yes, they rode their luck in the first couple of games. Cards helped them, but the performance against England was monumental. They were huge, and with that, confidence was built. And you can see that today in this performance in Paris.
Vakatawa trying to reduce the arrears and to give France a shout. Wales, remember, France down to 14. Wales defensive line rock solid on that occasion. Gros is the one to carry. Tamak thought about the pass. Biggar made sure he didn't escape.
No advantage, entree deux.
And we'll go back for a penalty to France.
12 offside.
And all the time the clock ticks down.
There we go. 12 offside.
They simply have to go for the corner here now. needs to be a bit of pace about what they're doing as well. And it's all very deliberate
Okay,
still
attacking
from France. As you
So
watch that
wrist it, cancel
replay,
it. Who's in? Rest it.
seems to be a lack of urgency.
No, no.
Four-man line out.
There we are. There we are. Time off, please. I know, but you've got a guy running in at the back. That's okay. Time is off. Just rearrange yourselves.
Tell you what, the ref's been kind there not to free kick them. Seriously disorganised.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lack of urgency. There's a lack of purpose in
9 is receiver
the
here.
calls, considering the situation that they find themselves in. But they do have possession, and it's there for Marchand.
Okay.
And they go to a maul, and away comes the hooker, and he drives the legs. Can he get it down? Pierce goes in to have a look. He can't see it. And there's no decision on field yet.
Give me a chance. Give me a chance. I'll come to you in a sec. Give me a chance. On field, I got held up, I think. No clear try. No need to review. Okay, so we're held up, are we?
Matt Carley, the assistant on this side.
Yeah, we're just checking.
Yeah, on field is no try. Just make sure that we haven't got the grounding to begin with, please.
So I
Julien
think this is the
Marchand.
best angle first up, Luke. And we've got the ball up. The ball is up.
Navidi,
The ball is
Adams.
up. We don't see that ball grounded, and we're just going to find one more angle, see if we've got any better angle. But at the moment, there is no clear footage of the ball grounded.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No rush. Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, mate, we've got no angle of the ball being grounded, so stick with your on-field decision, please.
No try. Held up. And in truth, that's a butchered opportunity because Marchand had the line at his mercy. Again, terrific scramble defence by Wales. Ironic, I think Sean Edwards would be thrilled with that if it was his side.
I'm not sure if he's panicked. I don't think there's any reason to break off. There's nobody with him. It's not like the 9 that pulled him out and said, look, let's launch this play. It was still a solid platform. So the argument would be you stay in as a pack, you stay together and you build go forward. The golden rule is until a ref tells you to use it, really. So, look, he's trying to fix problems, he's trying to solve things for his team, but I think really he could have stayed with his pack and got the ball rolling in the maul.
Okay, so crouch.
Gaël Ficou joins the French pack on that flank, and Gelon moves to number 8 in the absence of Aldridge, who's the man in the sin bin.
Okay, France, jouez.
Dupont, Vakatawa put to ground by the ever-willing, bigger advantage being played to France.
No advantage.
None coming.
Offside, Wales backs. Okay, just take our time. 10 and 12.
Ooh, you wonder if he's thinking yellow card.
Nelly. Scrub.
There have been
Yeah, it's
repeated
your backs, we need to
infringements,
stay
but look,
5.
with every defensive set
Backs, not 5.
that Wales get through on their 5-metre line, their confidence is going to
There we
grow.
are.
They are
Good.
hungry,
Yep.
they are tireless, and they are working superbly to try and keep this France out. Vakatawa is a serious strike runner, and that's a great low chop tackle by Dan Biggar to hold him up. Yes, they might have been a half yard outside, but you know what they say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Every defensive coach will tell you that. So look, they'll be hugely buoyed by the effort and the stress they're going through at the minute.
Bind.
Under 15 minutes left in this game with the Stade de France. Antoine Dupont feeds the scrum. Gelon will leave it for his scrum half. Vakatawa again used as the battering ram. There for Dupont once more. Falatau gets out of the way so as not to give away another penalty. France are, well, millimetres short, and they have another advantage. Ntamak. Navidi holds him up.
Advantage France. Use it.
Olivon. Alan Wynne-Jones is cleaned out. cleared out. Dupont, Vakatawa, they must strike now, France. Ficou, would you believe it? Held up again, but short also.
Still advantage. No, wait. No.
Vakatawa pops it off. Advantage still there. Marchand, Dupont, Wales' defensive effort is mammoth, but surely now France are going to get in. Eventually, Bryce Dulin wriggles over, and France have their third try of the evening, and this one ain't done yet.
Vakatawa, lovely link with Ficou. I thought he was over, but again, the work of the Welsh need to hold him up. Benno sticks it through his hands, all on, fixes man nicely, and Dulin steps over. George North nearly again ruining this day for the French side, but Brice Dulin just manages to roll over and dot down to get this French side back in the game.
So Barnsley, how we have it, we have an advantage. Number 5 was not rolling away back on the 5-metre area. And then we've got on-field try back here. But you're going to show me a net grab by a French player in the build-up to the try, are you?
I'm sorry, mate. I've just got lots of talk in my ear. Say that again. I'm about to show you a clear-out on red 1. The clear-out makes contact around the head area and takes him backwards in the clear-out.
Okie doke then. So we've got an official review for potential foul play on the clear-out on Wales 1.
Yeah, you see that. I'm not sure if you've got those pictures there. Can I see? You'll see one is competing over the ball. He is moved by the hand of red 5, blue 5, which is around his head.
Yeah, that's fair. So let's just get
so it's Willemse on Wyn Jones.
I'm still under advantage against 5, and I was going to warn them if it's no try because the amount of penalties. Just to make it clear, that net grab is whilst I'm playing advantage, isn't it?
It is, but it's foul play.
Yeah. OK, and are we talking more than a penalty or just a penalty for the net grab?
Mate, I want to just look together about where that contact is.
Yeah, OK.
OK. Will this help us?
Sorry, mate, we're just trying to get a different angle, the best angle for you. This is the best angle.
Now, Wyn Jones goes in there. In comes Willemse. You can see, oh, it's around the face as well as the neck. So
that angle clearly shows it a bit worse than we first thought, doesn't it? So let's see what we're going to do here. We've clearly got foul play. The number from France is?
It's 5 France, 5
number 5
blue.
France. The net grab is around his neck, and then he yanks him off. It's more than a penalty, this. We're probably looking at a yellow card, aren't we?
Mate, yeah, and there's contact around the eye area. I'm not saying there's direct contact to the eyes, but there's contact with the eye area, so it is more than a penalty. It is a yellow card, I agree.
Yeah, and we're quite happy that there isn't any clear contact with the eye, are we?
I'll have one more look.
It's OK, it's just important whether, if it's clear eye gouge, it's a red. If it's just an accidental slipping up, then it's a yellow. So we've got to be quite clear on the two things that we're seeing here.
That's what we're looking for, mate. Okay. We're just looking for that clear angle. It's just whether it slips up around the eye area or it goes into the eye.
And I need the number, lads, was it number 5, was it?
Hope you didn't have plans for this evening or the rest of your day, because we could be here.
So here's 5 blue arriving, his hand around, and then...
Oh, yeah. That's not looking. Every time you see it, it gets
worse. Definitely around that area, mate. I'm still on a yellow card here, unless this angle can show me he definitely catches his eye. No, it's not. Mate, Charles, just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. This is a difficult role as it is, so just give me a second.
He's just crying.
Shut.
Mate,
Barnsley, from what I'm seeing here, mate, that slow-mo, Matthew, that slow-mo is clearly showing fingers in the eye area.
Mate, I agree with you. It is not deliberate, but he has got his fingers around the head and they have made contact with the eye area.
So we're looking now at a red card, not a yellow, aren't we?
We are.
OK, number 5, France, to confirm. Sorry, Charles, can I just give you an opportunity to explain? Numero 5, s'il vous plaît. Alan Wen, just come here a second. So let me explain, because... Thanks. Thanks. Merci. Fellas, any chance? Can I speak? You would have been on a warning for the number of penalties for you not rolling, and I would have spoken to them if it's not a try. The grounding is fine, but as you've seen, your number 5 has gone in with a neck roll, but he's then also made contact with the eyes, or the eye area. That is a red card to number 5. It's no try, and it's a penalty on the 5-metre line.
You're sure?
Yeah.
You're sure?
And that, you feel, is the
Barnsley.
game right there.
Eye area.
And look, I know you can't have contact with the eyes, but it's not like he's seen and he's put his fingers in somebody's eyes in the
Alan
gouge.
Wynne,
He's
just to
almost
be
gone
clear,
past the
you are
effort to
now under
clear.
a warning for
And
penalties
his
in
arm is
this
trailing
area.
and he's
So if you
gone
do
in now. He's
another one,
inadvertently,
there
so
you go.
it's not intentional,
Well, it
it's
wasn't
careless and a
enough.
bit reckless, but
No.
is it a red?
So foul
It's
play
quite a
is
hard
above
call.
technical.
But look, it comes from one thing. You
Here.
can see the contrast in how these two different teams
Number
play
5.
once they get into the different respective 22s. Wales set up in really tight pods
Yes,
of
it
threes.
is, yeah.
They're
Time on,
pre-bound,
please.
latched, and they hold on to ball. France, you can see, are playing one after another, individuals, and they leave space between their ball carrier and their clearer, which means it's a 50-50 every time they go and clear their own man. Wales are throwing every
Right,
ball
yeah,
down. It's an
because the
absolute mess, and that's how this has come
Lots of
about.
changes, Wales.
Dempsey's late. He's not latched. He's not bound where he should be in these tight areas, tight 5 forward where you want him to be. And the price is you get a reckless clear, and you end up your fingers in somebody's eye.
And I think you're right, the word is reckless, and in fairness to the officiating parties, they have been made very clear that they've got to do this one by the book. So anything around the neck, anything around the head, anything around the face, there are going to be consequences. And it becomes incumbent on the defender to make sure they just never get themselves into that position. The neck roll, he knew what he was doing. The eyes, no. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the referee was left with little or no choice.
Yeah, line is over. It's through the mark. Okay, taken in, Wales.
Wales have made a raft of changes.
Use it.
You can see Elliot D in at hooker for Ken Owens.
Hold in front.
They are 12 minutes away from what would be quite simply a remarkable
23.
Grand Slam. They're playing against 14 players.
No.
And the referee's not happy with where that's taken from. And France are feeling like he's against them now.
15 meters
Agreed.
away.
You can see an entire French bench management team all
Number
out at their feet
23
screaming
ahead
at the
of
ref
kick
now.
chase. 23.
Clearly upset.
So we'll go to the corner again in Timac. And remember, that try was chalked off. You might have missed that in all of it. It's a 10-point game still.
Oui. Entree. Say again.
France want to make changes. They're back to their full complement now with Aldrit coming back into the game. And Camille Cha will come in for Julien Marchand at hooker.
Boys, I don't need you on at me at the moment. I don't need it. Okay, time is on.
So it was 15 against 13 and now 15 against 14. And France have missed their man. The first thing that Chan does is overthrow at the line out.
Okay, Wales, use
And Wales will gratefully accept the gift wrapped up on this Parisian evening and hand it to them.
Use it. 9, let's go.
And Camille Shaw will be mortified. That's a throw jump. Middle jumper, no pressure, no contest. That's a simple overthrow. And again, Wales gets scot-free out of jail.
Don't look at me for numbers. Stay the 10, Wales.
This time on the 22, Camille Chan.
No.
And the ball is there, and Aldrit to Dupont, but all of a sudden France look like they've just met each other. And Arthur Vincent is forced to clean up, and Aldrit carries into the 22. Antonio Dupont, but he gets caught in possession. There's still a ferocity and an intensity to the Welsh defence that's been there from minute one, even when they were rocked back on their heels by that early French try. Intimak Vakatawa hanging on to make the tackle is Callum Sheedy. Callum Shah caught it in, and he gets the pass away to Jean-Baptiste Gross and Dupont. Advantage now being played to France. Dulin, little pop. Olivon, this time at the line. Surely they'll ground it. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I've lost count of the number of times France have been across the line but have been unable to ground the ball.
And this time, Liam, look, you simply have to applaud the grit, the scramble, and the desire of this Welsh side. They have been phenomenal in scramble D.
And we're going to finish the game with 14 against 14 because Telupe Falatau has been sent to the sin bin, and that, well, he was the first one to infringe after the warning from the last time they were there. He was offside, and
thank you.
We'll finish 14 against 14, but look at this. I mean, that is just a terrific defensive effort. Into touch it goes.
Yeah. I'm not getting involved in numbers. I haven't for 70 minutes.
10 penalties conceded by Wales, 6 by France.
Hold the 10, France.
Taken by Olivon.
Line.
And to the maul. And Shah at the back. And there's a bit of momentum about this French maul. And Shah breaks away. This time will he ground it? No. Still not there.
No, he's short.
He's short, says the referee.
Onside.
Ball doesn't go to hand. Wales have it.
Advantage over.
You almost have to go back and look again and again. It is beyond belief that the ball wasn't grounded over the line once more. Dupont caught in possession. Advantage being played. Is there going to be another card?
Off your feet. No.
Promise you.
I made a decision. It is short. No, please. Please.
I promise
I'm
you.
explaining. For me, it is short. We play on. No, please.
Like a child to a parent.
Diving off feet.
But the referee not interested.
10 metres Wales.
Wales are down to 13.
This is where the captain's challenge that's been introduced elsewhere in the world might be pertinent to be moved into Six Nations. Gail Fiku is absolutely sure that ball has been grounded, but they won't go back and look at the TMO. On-field decision stands.
Okay.
Well, it's Camille Shah.
I'm not getting involved in numbers.
There. There. You can understand why the question was being asked. 2 yellow cards for Wales. Minutes. They will finish with 13.
Thank you.
France will finish with 14 with their red card.
No, line was over, Christoph.
It's a game that's had simply everything. Fiku drives at the line. Serra is in, but he can't get his hands on the ball. And Shah is wrapped up. And Wales are just throwing their bodies at anything in a blue jersey. And it's another penalty.
Hands down, everybody hands down. We need a word now. Time is off, please. Just give me, you're welcome to listen, Charles, if you want to. You need to change your discipline. You're making life really hard for me. It's not desperation, it was good in the first half, get it back to it. If it keeps on going, players will continue to leave. Okay, so if you want a word, you're welcome to. Well, time is off.
Action. No more.
Take the line. Just wait for time on, please.
Oh, dear.
But he did use the word.
Entry.
Credit to them. They have been absolutely desperate in defence. They're going to make mistakes, but they're going to give those mistakes away before they concede another try. They have been superb defensively.
Okay, let's bind up then.
Every second counts now, because if France get in with 3 or 4 minutes left and with that one-man advantage.
Okay.
It does, but that's why it's also a strange choice to go for a scrum. I know you have men up, but it's going to take
Let's go.
at least 1 minute to set the scrum. There's another minute off the clock.
We're at the point where a 10-point difference, you wonder, can France win it from here? And even if they do win it from here, well, it will stop Wales winning the Grand Slam. But presuming Wales are within 7 points, they'll get a bonus point, and that will be the championship for them.
Crutch! Fine.
Having seen what we've seen, you wouldn't dare call anything at this point. Penalty.
Number 1, collapse.
Pace, where's the pace? Where's the urgency?
And you can hear the entire bench below screaming, shoo, play.
Melee uncle. I don't want to hear it.
And that's the best decision that Wales could have hoped for. Take a minute, set a scrum.
Okay, let's go. Come on.
Let's go, Wales. Let's go, Wales.
Easy to say from up here, but in the white, hot heat of battle down there.
Look, France have just been disjointed across the piece. Once they get down to the 5-metre line, they're running negative lines, getting man and ball, turning over, running by themselves. They have not looked like a team. They've looked like a different proposition.
Okay, time off, please.
Time off, but a different proposition over the past 12 months. They've been so clinical, dangerous, hard to stop.
I don't want to hear it.
Whereas this Welsh team has stopped them firmly in their tracks.
Rebind up. Rebind up, France. Time on, please.
That man will be there to the very last moment. He will give every last drop to the cause. He's on the brink of a 4th Grand Slam of his own.
Set.
Serra feeds, Aldrit comes away, puts the head down. Sheedy meets him, Aldrit. Navidi there as well. Olivon picks, goes, and surely gets there. At last, France have the try that they have looked like scoring for what, 15 minutes? Eventually, over they go, and we're in for a grandstand finish.
No worries about that.
But surely it's too little, too late.
Pardon, monsieur.
Conversion, not messing around, taken quickly by Ntamak. It's good. It's a 3-point game, and there are 3 minutes left in the game.
Time off, please.
Wow.
Okay, send them on, please.
What must Fabien Galtier be thinking? 64 times cap for France. He has presided over a French side that was growing and growing,
Just hold on.
but it
Time
has
is still on.
stuttered
Just wait.
now.
Are we all okay for
And
the
look, Fabien,
substitutes?
I worked with Fabien at Montpellier. He is without doubt the best attack coach I've
We're
ever
all
had the
equal,
chance
yeah.
to work with. Probably the best coach technically I got the chance to work
Time
with.
on.
But strategically today, they have been completely outfought.
Sheedy gets us underway. It's about territory and possession now, and France know it, and Olivon knows it. Change
Okay, France.
for Wales. Navidi's gone, both them in. Wyn Jones and Nicky Smith have traded places as well. France with ball in hand, they're just looking for the gap that they know is there. Keeping the ball in hand, Bryce Dulin looks across the line and sees to see if there's a weak shoulder. There isn't one. Antonio, Ntamak, Vakatawa. Another try for France would give them a bonus point. Beno, Aldrit, they're alive now. Fiku Vakatawa. What a wonderful climax to a wonderful day's rugby in the Guinness Six Nations. Is there one last chapter? France knock it forward.
Advantage Wales.
Wales have possession. Williams, Alan Wyn Jones, they will stick it up the jumper and try and run down the clock. If they make an inch or none, they'll be happy once they hold on to it.
Okay, advantage is over for the knock-on. Use it. Go.
A minute and 20 seconds. They've got to figure it out from here. 13-man Wales against 14-man France in what has been an absolutely epic encounter. It's had it all. If you'd seen the script beforehand, you would have said it was fantasy. And France
19,
may yet get another chapter.
Stop the option of the jackal.
Again,
everybody stopped.
I don't understand. Time. There's just no urgency. Time is not
Well,
off.
they've done Rook. Yeah, yeah.
And they haven't still kicked the ball to touch.
Wales.
A fourth try is what France needs. It'll give them the bonus points, and it'll keep them alive. And they will be back here to face Scotland next Friday night.
Thank you. Okay.
Serra. Is there a hero in blue? Vincent. Serra. Gelon. Wales go after it. Thought they had their hands on it. We're in the red. This is it. What a finish. Tackle calls the referee, not a maul. Had to let him go. France have men out wide. Wales are scrambling. Peno. Vincent. Alan Wynne-Jones just can't get his hands on it. Antonio. Put down by Brown. There for Serra. Ntamak. Ficou. Floated past to Peno. Wales come across. Ficou has it. Halaholo and Sheedy trying to strip the ball. Just can't get their hands on it. Narrow side. They might run out of room. Vakatawa fights his way back in field. Serra. France continue to come. They have men out wide. Ficou. Vincent. Dulac! Can you believe what you are seeing? Remarkable. Quite simply remarkable.
Unbelievable. And the scenes below us, absolutely ecstatic. The French staff, management, the players out on their feet. But what a finish. An unbelievable game of rugby.
And Wales, oh Wales. They cannot believe what has just happened to them.
All okay, mate? Yeah. The try's fine, yeah.
Referee is having another word with Wayne Barnes just to make sure that the try is good. It was numbers in the end, but they had the patience and the ability to execute. That required nerves of steel.
And that man's been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Again, a rock in the heart of this performance. The second row partner.
You can't but feel sorry for Wales. You just can't. After everything they have been through in that game, to lose it at the death. Conversion doesn't count, but it doesn't matter right now. What a game of rugby. And what it all means is that there is no Grand Slam for Wales. There may be still a championship for them, but that won't be decided until next week, because France and Scotland will do battle here next Friday night, and France still have the opportunity to win the championship. Final score, France 32, Wales 30. Johnny Beattie, can you sum that up?
Look, Wales were absolutely outstanding across the piece. Strategically, I thought they out-fought them. But you can't write France off. I mean, geez, the journey they've been on, I don't think that they can play as badly as that again and win. But geez, for the tournament, I feel sorry for Wales. Look, it tees it up. France's first home game in Paris they've had. I'm delighted for them. I know half of their staff, half of their players. It's a huge game. And now they come back here in a week's time with everything to play for against Scotland in the last game, the rearranged fixture in this Six Nations tournament. But I mean, what a game. Absolutely epic to watch.
17 points apiece at half-time, and then Wales stretch it out. They had a 10-point lead there with, what, 6 minutes to go. And the French battering their way at that line, and then they get the red card as well. And actually, crucially, those 2 yellow cards have made a huge difference to Wales in the last 7 or 8 minutes. A little bit of ill-discipline, just desperation in trying to hold on to the ball. And wow, France, well, they were able to find a way. They left it till the 11th hour and then some. But they did it, and Wales are absolutely crestfallen. They get a bonus point that brings them up to 20 points in the championship. France are up to 15 points in the championship. They're going to need a bonus point win against Scotland next week, and we'll have to have a look at the points differential as well. But they won't care about that right now because their dream is still alive. Haven't won a championship since back in 2010, and they think that this may just be their year.
And the positive for France is now it's in their hands. For Wales, it's going to be horrible watching that game. It's now out of their hands. They had their chance tonight in Paris, and they've let it slip. They were this close and they let it slip. But for this French side, under Fabien Galtier, they come back here next weekend, Friday night, play Scotland, and play for their championship. A huge game for French rugby.
Wales clap France off the pitch. It's going to be a game that I think everybody's going to want to watch again, and you rarely say that because so much happened in that game. It ebbed and it flowed. It went from one side to the other. There were moments when you thought France were going to be blown away. At the start, you felt they might blow Wales away. And it went right down to the last moment of the last play on the last match of a Super Saturday. And from a competition perspective, it was just magnificent.
It truly was. The one man that's going to be devastated is Corey Hill, because the amount of times we've seen teams close a game out with pick and go, he slips and goes off his feet, penalty to the corner, and it's game over. But normally you would see a team close that out, but that one mistake has flipped everything on its head.